There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Hey, it's your Captain Rik Strange, and I'm welcoming you back to the Perfumed Gardens, baby. Hey, you know, it worked for Dorothy, and I thought it might work for me, but alas, it didn't. And the only thing it did do was scuff my heels. Bummer, you know. Anyway, a little quick story here to get things rolling. One time, I was flying back to the West Coast on an airplane. Not my normal form of teleportation. And this cat in the airport comes up to me and he's admiring my Therese, as you can imagine. I understand that. And he remarked about my go-go shoes. You know, and he said he liked my, and I quote, my roach killers. And I asked him what he was talking about, and he says, well, cause, you know, look at them toes on them shoes, baby. You know, you can get into the corners and get them little buggers. Whatever, in the airport, anything's possible. Okay, one more little thing here that I gotta bring up, and I think that lately, last 3-4 episodes, you know, ever since we were kind of crash landed and we gotta stay at this abode until we can get back to the studio, I think this 19 thing has stolen my mojo, baby. Now, not that mojo. My mojo about putting on a good effort to make everybody laugh and carry on. And that's what I'm going to tell you, because the good news is, baby, I'm back. I'm back big time. So buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Number uno today is a totally buried and mysterious the side effects there. Treasure I stumbled on, and the band is called The Blue Bus. Whoa, holy mother of asteroids, these boys cook 5-star dinners. This blender of styles flows from folk, pop, garage to some psych, baby. And we're gonna sample some of their wares right now, and let's get the party started with this battery charger of a tune called Your Mind is Moving Too Fast. And if you can climb down off the ceiling when we get back, I'll tell you something that will put you right back into orbit, baby. The Waltons, or maybe they are. Anyway, before we go any farther with our story today, this is the record. It's got all the trappings that I want. It's got a really cool teenage bunch of guys doing their thing in somebody's backyard, maybe, I don't know. You know, they got the threads, they got the attitude. And there's the back side of it. This is from Germany. Yeah, the Deutschland. And wow, you know, it's cool. I'm digging it. So let's talk a little bit first before I give you the trippy part. Now, this thing is like, you know, there's like there's 13 cuts on this record, and they're all like running around that 2.5 minute, 3 minute mark, and it's all got all the kind of stuff that you want. I mean, especially me. I mean, I got this for me. Anyway, I stumbled on this one, and here comes the trippy part. Now, all this stuff was found recordings. They were all found in some studio or somebody's basement, or as the story goes, at some recording studio. And they're all, the box was marked that these recordings came from 67 and 70, 270. But here's where it gets really kind of outer limity. Outer limity? No, outer limity. I don't know, liberty, that works too. Anyway, there was no name attached to the recordings or the box or anything. The tapes were released onto the scene in the late 90s, and it was done by this German company, and with the name Blue Bus. Now they kind of dreamt that up. That's step one. There was even some names of members given credit on the LP. Since there ain't nada verifiable information anywhere, I mean, I scoured the internet and I started getting into all these weird cats that were making up these conspiracy things about the band. Maybe they're something that was generated in the 80s, not the 60s and 70s. Hey, I don't know. You're just going to have to go with the flow until someone from the band or a message in a bottle washes up on the shore. Ah! That's all we got, people. Weird, huh? Buy it. I like it. You know, so either you get it or you don't. I dig this indulgence. The disc works for me. Wow, baby, does it work. So, pressing on, I got this gluten-free extravaganza effort from '68 from a band called CAC. Now, these spinning tops came from Davis, California. Not that all far from here, but farther out that way. Farther east, north. This double mashup of two guitars of Gary Yoder, remember that name, and Diener Patton really put the milk on my cornflakes, dig it? In a previous life, they were in a group called Oxford Circle. Now, that proto-punk feed was back in the triptastical psychedelic way. They were a pill that were a big favorite at the Avalon Ballroom in '66. They were just jamming there all the time. There's a live CD. I don't like CDs, but that's the only way you're going to get it. There's a live CD of these cats, and it's worth searching out. It's decent. It is decent. Now, I don't know what happened to my copy. I think it might have got bounced over to my co-pilot, and he's enjoying it these days. But doesn't matter. You need to look for that. Okay, least I digress. Too late. Back to CAC, please. Now, let's see. Now would be an opportune time to, let's see, zap you with a track called N Clear Day. So, before we go on the field trip, get a permission slip from your mom, and when you get back, I'll expect a full book report. Single space, too.
Outside
Fat Mabel. Whew! How, here's the deal. How I've had this particular record for like 2 years and never given it a fair listen, man, that's all on me. Here's the cover. It's interesting kind of graphics on there. It's kind of happening all the way. Let me get my camera person to zoom in if she'll help out here. There she goes. She's trying to hush one of our four-legged family members. Anyway, this is the front, that's the back. It's pretty nondescript, but it's what's inside that counts, and it's cool. I'm digging it. So, cheese and crackers, Myrtle, how could I ever have been so blind to these cats? I don't know. I think what happened was I have really high expectations when I buy stuff, and I need to just throttle back a little and get a better understanding of what I might be getting. Hello, Thelma. Thelma's here. Thelma's in the house. The hound is in the house. Anyway, what I always say is, better late than never. And the LP's got a cool mix of laid-back tunes and really jumping tunes. And after only playing a few gigs, these cats, they released a 45. And this here gem of an LP, this is a good, well-rounded LP. I like it a lot. They just decided to quit, they just decided they had enough because they weren't getting promoted by the record company, and it was a drag. So, anyway, luckily, Yoder joined up with Blue Cheer and grooved out a couple of LPs with them. Now, this is putting Blue Cheer around 1969. So, I think the only original member at that point was the bass player. And you know what? Your captain, he's very forgetful, so I can't tell you. Dickie Peterson! I pulled that one out of the air. That's who it was. Anyway, luckily for the Cheer, you gotta search it out. The Cheer's got some good stuff besides the first two LPs. They morphed into a lot of different things along the way. But I gotta tell you that this is a good one. I like this one. I'd say, yeah, baby, you need some good old garagey goodness. That's it. This is good. Got a little psych, a little this, a little that. Mix it up, smash it up, make it happen. Put it in 450, you're baked in 20 minutes. Baked! 420, somewhere in the world. Okay, now, on to our next platter. And these cats, they came from Michigan. They were a Michigan band, and they were straight from your mom's basement to a recording act with dad's money and managerial talents. And the band was called the Unrelated Segments. Kind of cool. Listen, Earl, they may have started out as a high school pimple creamer band in '65, but by '67, the shine was off the apples, and away we get this door slammer, glass breaking, vibroider from Michigan Daddy-O's. Like, this is the Detroit area, MC5, Stooges, Bob Seger System, it just moves along. So, let's cough up a quarter and get a three-pay, God, my mouth is always slipping. A three-play from the jukebox is a real stomper called Story of My Life. And remember, to get those happy feet going, and when I bring you back from Happy Land, we shall take deep breaths and get our chakras in order and regain some known composure. At least I hope. have not been listening with these little devices. The other platter, there's a 2-disc, 2 LP selection here. And there's a killer. This is the cover, by the way. There's also a killer insert here, which I can't get out because you know what? I'm fumble-fingered and I don't want to damage it because it'll wreck the resale. Who cares? I play the hell out of this thing all the time. This is good stuff. The first platter. I'll talk to you about the second platter in a second. Anyway, this other platter that comes with this cup of coffee consists mainly of, you know, alternate takes of the 66 recordings and a bunch of unreleased tunes from 1972. But by 69, can we keep all this straight? I don't know. I'm having a problem. But by 69, the segments were no more. Boo-hoo. The singer, Ron Stultz. Oh, Stultz? Whew. Sounds like Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing! So Ron and 2 others from the segments, they started a new group called Lost Nation. So, the cuts from the second LP, which is mostly 72 stuff, that's what comes from that period. They were all the studio recordings that Stultz was doing with the Lost Nation. These tunes were more on the heavier stew side than the segments. The segments were more garagey goodness, you know. Really not psych at all to speak of. The second LP with the heavier stuff, it is. It's definitely crunch time. And I'd say it's not a bad LP at all in general, but the real keeper here is the 45 called The Story of My Life. Now that is something to search out. I don't know if I would say you gots to have it. I would say, you know, maybe save your bread and spend a fortune on the 45. That would be a keeper. Okay, alrighty then. Whew. The next trip through tomorrow is the gauntlet. I don't have my gauntlet. I can't throw it down, but I'm throwing it down. And it's a challenger to Mr. Dotson Looper, who did a show about the most undiscovered, unappreciated psych LP. Well, I got some news for yous. Let's get down to it and really start to feed your head, baby. Drum roll, please. Boing! Okay. The first LP by the Ultimate Spinach is an extravaganzoid that is just making me reel. I mean, not R-E-A-L, I mean R-E-E-L, where I'm spinning in my seat. Hey man, I know a bottle by its label, and these stargazers are the real deal. Every over-the-top psychedelic dripping note gives me flashbacks. And I don't need no help getting those, but I got some every time I put this disc on the turntable. This one's a total gas, man, a real gas. Originally, the Spinach were called the Underground Cinema, and they came from where else? Boston. No surprises there. They were the brainchild of Ian Bruce Douglas, I believe? Yes, that's where it is. Man, this LP, he really jacks my mind with this thing. Okay, so, without further ado, let's prove my point and absorb a dose of the LP called, first LP, the song's called Ego Trip. So put on your tinfoil hats and get ready for a dimensional shift in time and space. And when I can dial you back from Wonderland and the colors of your dreams, we shall drink from the well of enlightenment.
Mindless creeping, Grope through idiosyncrasy, up, rise, up, down.
You've got like a bird singing in your brain. You don't know what they're saying, but you try to do the thing. You think that you're from nowhere and you've got no place to go. You think that you know something, but there's nothing left to know. So you start to rolling bottles and other worldly things. You want to get away from you, but you just can't go away. So you always lean on top of love, you use it as a crutch.
Doink! Hey babies, this LP doesn't creep up on you, you know. It's like the minute you put it on, it takes you 2,000 light years from your brain and just keeps on going. Here is the cover of my really burned out copy. Now this is the original issue that I had back in the day. I got it like at some kind of a discount store, so they put us, of course they got to put their moniker on it, and then somehow or other, upon playification, rip the sleeve. Well, you know, what are you gonna do? When you're out there in space, you're allowed to do anything. It's cool. Everything about this is happening. It's on the MGM label, which I dig. That's the original. Well, not the original albums from the Animals. The Animals sort of switched over to MGM like around 67. Where am I going with that story? Don't matter. Anyway, this thing is Trip City. There's there is some really cool things going on here. It's got these whacked, I mean really crazy lyrics, and I dig them. And the musicianship is really top notch on this thing for the time. And there's also this cool girl vocalist called Barbara Hudson, and she adds this really airy, kind of spooky thing to this whole, sonic endeavor, this sonic voyage. Ooh, can I put it that way? The other cut you want to check out is Ballad of the Hip Deaf Goddess. Woo! That's weird. That is like so cool. I mean, I'm digging it big time. Dig it when I say the LP is one supernova overload of instrumental and epic lyrical excursions. You must own this LP. You must. There's no excuses for you not having this. This beats the daylights out of the second one from the Spinach, which was a good LP. This one is like composed of a bunch of cuts. Little short ones, little longer ones. It's just like one big oops. And for a kicker, this here is something that came out some time ago, and it's an unofficial live release called Live at the Unicorn Club in July of '67. It's good. It's happening. They do some stuff off of the first LP, Follow Me and Hip Deaf Goddess, and my favorite, obviously, Mind Flowers, but that's from the second LP. But that's a cool tune nonetheless. And then they do some covers that are expected for the time, like the Hey Joe and, But anyway, this is a good one. This is a good one. I like this one. So, you must own this LP, this first one. I'm not telling you. Be forewarned, you will lose your mind. And headsets are very helpful with this LP. If you got them, pop them on, baby. Whew, man. Let me get a partial grip, if that's possible. We should talk about today's bumper music, because we're running long. And you know me, the captain's long-winded, but that's just the way he does his game. And if you want to sit through it, you do. You don't? Today is Brian Eno's music for films. Now this LP, man, I'm sure you're tuned into Brian Eno. How could you not be? He did this LP right after he helped Bowie do Low, and that was a real trip. Now here's the kick. If you've ever wondered what space truly sounds like, and I mean the sounds between the stars and the planets, you know, that big void, then this is as close as you're ever going to get, unless you can hitch a ride with me on my saucer when we eventually leave the planet's gravitational pull, for sure, the real way. Okay, actually I think I feel a xenomorph looking over my shoulder right now. Woo! Oh, hope not. Them are bad guys. Anyway, maybe I'm just a little bit overloaded right now because I dig this record so much. But anyway, there you go. Dots and loops. But oh well. Now listen, one other thing I want to throw out there. There's this cat that's got a channel out there, and he's been out there a long time. And you know, he's if you were to saw one of his branches off and count the rings, you'd find out that we're both the same age as that tree that he grew from. And he's a cool dude, and his tastes are absolutely eclectic all over the place. He jumps, man. I mean, he don't just jump, he's hopping and bopping all over the place. He does jazz, he does big band, and he does psych. That's what I like. But anyway, his show is Odd Box Topper. Check him out. He just did this thing, and I gotta tell him again, I sent him a little blipper across the internet skirt, and he's a good musician. And this is the second time I heard him actually put a video together that had music on it. And you know what? He's good. This cat's okay. He's nowhere near land where I live, or I'm at least planted right now. He's more towards the east, a big ways, and then down south a bit. If we were that close, if we were within 1,000 miles, I'd say, hey, we gotta get together and jam, man, this cat's happening. And I'll get the bass player and the drummer and we'll happen. Anyway, that said, please, till we meet again, be smart, be safe, and keep your brain afloat, because the sun will shine in our back door someday again. I swear it, it will. I believe it, it's gonna happen. So, till the next time that you encounter your captain, please remember, we are all one and always will be all one.